would like to call the regular meeting of July 6th to order. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Allen?
Here.
Rumpel?
Here.
Darnell?
Here.
Palma?
Here.
Cordella?
Here.
Marshall?
Here.
Thurman?
Here. Okay, at this time we need to approve our agenda. The clerk would like to add an item under new business. So it would be item D, election services agreement. Is that correct, Candy?
Yes,
Okay.
with Oakland County.
With Oakland County, okay. Okay, would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Or is there something else that anyone wants to add on to the agenda before we do that?
I move to approve it as is.
And that was Bob, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who seconded
And
that?
that was Chris. And that's to approve as amended.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I have a motion by Trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by Trustee Cordella to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion on this motion? Okay, seeing none, if you are in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. I hear no nays, so the agenda has been approved unanimously. Okay, so we can move right into our reports this evening. First, we have a Treasury report, our General Ledger report, our Designated report, our Reconciliation report, Building Department report, and I just wanted to let everyone know that we have 10 new housing starts this year compared to 4 at the same time last year. So even with the COVID-19, people are building in our township, so that's good. And we do not have a recreation report this evening, but I'll say a couple things as part of my report. And we have an Edna Burton Senior Center report. And Faye, if you would like to speak to your report, you wrote a nice letter on there.
Can you hear me?
Before
the reports start, is this meeting being recorded?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep, Faye, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I sent everyone a letter. It should be in your packet, but since then we have started another program. We picked up some produce last week from the Older Person Center in Rochester, 46 boxes, I believe, and it had potatoes and apples and celery and cabbage in it, and we distributed those to the lower income seniors. And then a couple weeks ago, we started picking up some dairy products. It includes regular milk, chocolate milk, strawberry milk, onion dip, cream cheese, cottage cheese, and sour cream, and that's all donated by Prairie Farms. We had been getting 15 every week. And then last week, they asked if we wanted more. So we will now be getting a pallet of it every week. And there's 48 on
Wow.
the pallet. So, and that's at no cost to the seniors, and the only cost to the center is, or the township, is the go picking it up. And then some of it we deliver to those that we deliver Focus, Hope, and commodities to anyway, because they don't drive or they don't have vehicles or they can't get out of their houses. And then we also have some people that will be picking it up. So, and we have also, I also have it's a phone conference meeting once a week with the Oakland County Health Department. And the meeting last week was on the 1st, and their response to the COVID is that it was an upward trending. As of June 21st, we were down to 10 to 11 cases per day. And as of July 1st, we were now, this is for Oakland County, we were now at 30 plus per day, which resembles where we were at in March. And I've spoken with a few different senior centers, and most of them are not even thinking about opening before September. Some of them October. One of them is not even opening to the public until January. It all depends on what phase we end up in with the governor. Right now we're in phase 4. The senior center seniors are actually on phase 6 of the state phases for opening. And the health department did mention that when we do our newsletters, just explain to the people that we can't make any promises of when we are going to open. But I know that our seniors are just chomping at the bit. So I'm trying to think of a way that maybe we can have some picnic tables out, and once a week or twice a week we can have a little picnic, but not all kinds of food brought in. Maybe just have the regular meals brought in and socially distance them outside. And one day this group of people, they have to call in and reserve a rest spot. It's just something that I'm throwing around, trying to find a way so that people can, kind of get out of the house a little bit. And we are still limiting our passengers on the buses to 3 passengers at a time. That is the suggested in order to be socially distanced. And we are still transporting. Our transportation is picking up as of right now because more doctors are actually seeing the patients instead of doing the telemedicine.
And you've got a couple part-time drivers back, according to your report.
Excuse me, Faye. Can you repeat that last statement? I didn't quite get that. The doctors are doing what?
So our transportation is picking up because more doctors are literally seeing their patients in person as opposed to the telemedicine.
Okay. Thank
on
you.
The phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Good clarification. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Faye. And you also said in your report you have a couple of the drivers that came back, but just one day a week.
Well, they're 1 or 2 days a week. I do still do a lot of the driving. I'm just in the office and there's nobody, if Focus, Hope and stuff is being picked up, then that's definitely when I have the drivers do the driving. Or if there's multiple, then either both drivers or I'll drive one, depending on what time they are. If they're during the homebound lunches, then I stay for the homebound lunches and the drivers drive the passengers.
Okay. And are we still advertising for more part-time senior van drivers?
I think you want to ask Candy. I know that it was in for a couple weeks.
Yes, it was in the paper for 2 weeks for drivers and fill-in office, and we got no applications whatsoever. That unemployment is hurting us. People are better off on unemployment.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Faye. It was a nice report.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we'll move on to the rest of our reports. We have a CDBG report in our packet, and that brings us to trustees' reports. Let's see. Dana, you're first on my list. I'll just go down my list.
I have nothing to report tonight. No one, haven't had any subcommittee meetings and just wanted to say happy 4th.
Okay, thank you. Jason, you're next.
I just want to wish everybody, hope everybody had a happy 4th with their family and friends. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Chris, Trustee Cordella?
Yes, I thank you that we have some planning commission minutes. I'm not sure if it was from the last planning commission. Unfortunately, I was scheduled to be there, but a blood clot popped up, so I wasn't able to make it. So I don't know what happened at that meeting, the last one. So that's it. So I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Marshall?
Nothing.
Nothing tonight? Okay, then we can move on to our treasurer's report.
Well, the summer tax statements were mailed the end of June. If you do not have an escrow account, you should have received your summer statement. If you did not, or you would like us to print one for you, as well as your escrowed account, please come into the office or call and we'll have it ready for you to pick up. If you received a summer tax statement and have an escrow account, that means your bank did not request to have your tax statement sent to them. Contact your bank. Let them know you received the statement instead of your bank, so they will be able to get a copy of it, and they are responsible for paying your taxes. Now, as of today, the county has not charged the delinquent dog tag charge. That usually starts the 1st of June, but they have put that off. So normal dog tag pricing is in effect until we're told otherwise. If you are coming in to pay your taxes or to get a dog license, please be sure to wear a mask when you enter the building, and remember social distancing is in effect. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, Terry. Clerk's report.
Thank you. August 4th primary election will decide who moves forward to the November presidential general election. There are 7 candidates running for 4 seats on the township board in the trustee position. 1 candidate for supervisor, clerk, and trustee seat so far. The deadline to register, though, as a write-in candidate is July 24th at 4 p.m. To date, we have mailed 2,419 ballots out to our AV voters, which is huge, more than double of any other year. And we're taking them on every day, sending out more and more. Any registered voter in Brandon Township, which wishes to vote via the mail, can submit an absentee application to the clerk's office, and we will get the ballot mailed to you for August and November if you check the appropriate boxes. Safety measures are being taken to ensure that our election inspectors and voters will be safe, and everyone is asked to wear masks while in line and during their time in the precincts. The polling places will have just a little bit different look because we're going to social distance, and we'll have plexiglass up for our workers where we need it. We have 5 new election workers that we're going to be training for August, and we're going to be definitely looking for more for November. because that election will be even larger. Please be careful during this dry spell, as in fires. I'm very worried for that. And driving on M15, we're getting way too many accidents.
Yeah.
Last
You can say that
Saturday,
again.
July 4th, I got to attend the Groveland Township Hall Patriot Pavilion dedication ceremony, and it was very, very nice. They have a beautiful pavilion behind the Groveland Township building and some walking trails, and I just thought it was great to go. Teresa Bills actually was the brainchild for that event, and the VFW was involved, and several people made that happen, and Judy Miracle was there to accept a nice tribute to her son Joe, who'd lost his life in 2007. So that is it for me. Thank you.
Got a question, Candy?
Thank you, Candy.
You're welcome.
Candy, I have a question for you. If you send in the request for absentee ballot, obviously you're going to just send out a ballot for the August 4th one. You won't be able to send out one for the November one, right?
We will send the November one later in the year after we get the November ballots, like October.
Okay.
September, 1st of October, we'll have those ballots. So if you mark the box that you want your ballot for November, we keep your application on file, and anyone who marks that box, we can send your ballot. So you do not have to fill out 2 applications.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Candy.
Welcome.
For the supervisor's report, I'd like to wish the USA a happy birthday. And then I want to let everyone know the building department has been busy with permits and also enforcement. The supervisor's office has been busy handing out mosquito control products, so we have a big stash of them. So anyone who would like some bug spray or the larvicide, come on into the supervisor's office and we'll hand that out to you. Okay, so as far as Parks and Rec, the baseball program had their first game last Wednesday. It went well, and instead of shaking hands at the end of the game, the 2 teams lined up across from each other and took off their hats and waved them up in the air. So that was pretty cool. Nice. And Fred's been out at the park for many, many hours, and he's trying to keep the new grass watered so it doesn't burn up in this heat. Grant 1 needs to be inspected by HRC because that's pretty much all the way done. I think he's just waiting for the handicap signs to put up on the posts. And he is also about ready to submit for reimbursements for that grant. The campaign signs are now allowed to go out because it's 30 days before the election that they can be put out. So if anyone wants to put out campaign signs, you can go ahead. And then I just wanted to say something to Heath. Heath, I'm having trouble with your email address, so if you could call tomorrow and speak to me, I'd like to follow up with you. So that's it as far as my supervisor's report. So we can move on to our correspondence. For our correspondence, we have Planning Commission meeting minutes of February 25th, 2020. And that brings us to our citizens' comments. So, hang on a second, So during citizens' comments, we ask that you direct your comments to the board. We will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Please state your name, and although it is not required, we also ask that you state the city, township, or village in which you live. Comments shall be courteous and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So, who would like to make a comment?
I would, Kathy.
Okay,
This is
could you
Faye.
state your name? Faye? Okay, Faye.
This is Faye Bendig, and all my life in Ortonville. I just want to make a comment about the compensation for new officials. I understand that there's a thought that they need to be cut for the new elected officials, and I don't really think that that's a fair statement or position to take. They still have to do the same job as the people that are in it now. I'm not sure if this has ever been done before, but I don't think this is a precedent that we should really start or continue if it has been done before. There is so much extra work to be done, and who knows, in November we could still be dealing with the COVID-19. And with that, there's an awful lot of extra work to be done. And I just, in my opinion, I think that they should go in at the same amount as what's been done, the way it's been done in the past. They go in at what the other elected official went out at. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment on agenda items? Any of the agenda items? Okay, seeing none, we'll continue with our meeting. And next we have the discussion item, compensation for new officials. So in looking at, well, and the primary reason I brought this to the board is back in 2008 and 9, the officials wanted to lower their wages because of the economy tanking, and we were trying to save money in different ways. We were not allowed to lower our wages because we were in the middle of our terms. The only time you can lower an official wages is between terms. Now that we have the coronavirus, we don't know if we're going to have an issue with our revenue. I'm hoping not, but we may have some issues in that regard, and we might be looking for places to cut our costs. So I just thought I would bring this to the board to discuss. Also, the difference between the clerk and treasurer's wages compared to the supervisor. It seems the supervisor's wages progressively gets more and more further apart from the clerk and treasurer's wages. And I put down in your proposal the wages between 2002 and the current wages for 2020. And back in 2002, the supervisor was making like about $1,000 more than the clerk and treasurer, but then when you get to 2020, it's closer to $3,000. So the fire department has their budget set up so the person at the low end of the scale gets the increase, and then the person at the higher end of the scale gets a certain amount over. So we can adjust that as well at this point in time. So I'll open it up to the rest of the board, see what their feelings are.
I'm ready to talk.
Okay.
I don't feel this is fair to any of the new candidates or the township board. It seems like the only reason you want to reduce these salaries is because you are not running. Over the last 8 years I have served on the board, I've asked for the trustees to take a pay freeze, which hasn't happened. And you especially always voted to get the pay raise. So I just feel like it looks like this is just because you're not running. And we should have discussed this at our budget for 2020 is when we should have discussed it. We could have set wages for current and for incoming. And that would have looked a whole lot better than right now.
Well, Candy, just to point out, this is not just because I'm not running. And there were 5 years that my wages were frozen, and there was 2 or 3 years that I actually donated part of my wages back because we couldn't take a cut in our salary. So I'm just bringing this out here to the board for their feedback, and that's why it's a discussion item. And there was a feeling by one of the board members that since there's no experience for the first year, that maybe it's a good time to cut back on wages.
Okay, so I first want to say I agree that we should not do this. When residents, citizens decide they want to run, they find out what the salary is. Not saying they do it for the money, but they make that decision if they're leaving a job or their career to do this. So that's number one. Number two, I know you were saying, Kathy, that the difference really, it's 6,000 difference back in 2002 between supervisor and clerk, and then in 2020 it is 8 now, and that's because when you give a flat rate across the board increase, if you make more, your increase is going to be more, and that's always been my thing when we talk about wages is why does everybody just get flat across the board? It should be how you perform. But Candy, when you said that the trustees, you want to take a pay cut every year, I have always said the trustees, as a trustee, I didn't need to give myself a raise. I have been the one that has said elected officials don't want to. So I don't appreciate you saying all the trustees wanted raises because I did not. And
No,
I just want to make it clear.
all of them. It never happened, Dana. We always got the raises. We were outvoted. I didn't say that everybody was, I was the only one for it. I didn't mean it that way.
Okay, and that's the way, I'm sorry I took it wrong, but I just want to make sure it's clear that it wasn't, oh, I was always pushing for raises.
No,
I wasn't.
no, there were other people. Jason was one of them
It's
too.
only $2 a year,
Hold on,
for goodness
Chris.
sake.
Chris, we're talking.
Jeez.
Chris.
I know.
We need to speak one at a time, please. And if you'd like to say something, please ask to be recognized.
Yeah, that might be easier now that we're not in person.
All right,
anyways,
go ahead, Dana.
That's my opinion. I don't think we should do that to them. I know for every year when we are talking increases for elected officials, it's always been we are lower than every place, and now we want to lower us again. I mean, we're still not competitive with all of the other townships around us. I don't want to see it go down.
Right.
That's my point.
All right, thank you, Dana. Bob.
Yeah, I'm opposed to this idea. One of the things you just happened to mention was the fact that new members coming on are not going to have the same experience as that exiting, and I'm not buying that as a explanation or rationale. Jason might not have time in office, but he has tons of experience as an attorney. Scott might not have a lot of experience in the treasurer's office, but he brings a wealth of experience from the business world in. So just because they may lack experience in one area does not mean they don't have vast experience in another area. So I'm opposed to the idea. I think they signed up to run for a certain amount, and I don't think we should jump ship in the middle of the stream.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Anyone else before I go back to Dana?
Me, Terry.
I'm also opposed to it also.
Hang on, Chris. Terry's going next.
Right.
Well, I'm saying yes because, number one, the new officials are just like new employees. They start at a lower wage because they aren't versed in the duties associated with that position. And the new officials will be leaning heavily on the office staff to help them relearn or learn their positions. So I can understand, because it's just kind of the way it is with any job. When you come in as a newbie, you don't start at the top of the scale because you don't know what's entitled or what you need to do, and you're constantly having to ask staff, which is going to put a bigger burden, especially like in my office. I only have 1.5 people in here to train the new treasurer. So it is kind of, that's going to put an extra burden on those two as well. So that's where I was coming from. I've never been in a position that I started at the top. I've always started lower because I didn't know the position. Now, as far as the amount of money, then you can barter on that if you want, but that was my thought.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Chris, go ahead.
I think Chris walked away.
Oh. All right, Dana.
That's when Bob started talking, I realized that's what I wanted to say. Jason might not have experience as a supervisor, but he's been on the board for a long period. Scott might not have experience as the actual treasurer, but now I hear he's the deputy treasurer, and he also has been working in the office and has financial experience. And Rosalind might not have experience as being the clerk, but she has been in the clerk's office. And Terry, we didn't bump you down when you got into office and you didn't have the experience. So I feel that why would we do it to these
8 years here as the deputy. So yeah.
Well, they all have experience too in the township, and they're not still starting at the top because, again, like I said earlier, we aren't at where the other townships are at. So
that's true, but we do have the longevity that most don't.
We also have longevity pay for that.
Correct. And you guys get longevity too, and that's not built into this. So you guys get more than this because you get the longevity, Terry and Candy and Kathy. Okay, that's all.
I'm against this too. Experience doesn't have anything to do with it. Like Dana just said, we have longevity pay to reward people for experience and time served. And like Dana mentioned, just a little quick research today, Oxford supervisor is currently being paid close to $75,000 a year, and Groveland $68,000. So we're already significantly behind both of our neighbors. And then if we do this, we're going to be way behind them.
I didn't mean longevity.
In the almost 7 years I've been on the board, I've listened to you guys, give all these same reasons on why you should get raises every year. And if you remember, I voted against the budget 3 times because I didn't agree with those wages increases. But for you to try to now, after you got your way and now you're on your way out the door and now you want to release it and bring it back down, I think that's a little suspect personally.
I'm sorry, Jason. I didn't mean longevity. I meant MERS. I'm so sorry. I just said a wrong word.
That's fine.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I'm still opposed to it.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Chris, are you ready?
I'm against it. That's it. Period.
Okay.
I'm against lowering the wages.
Okay, so my next question is, I hear most of the comments regarding the amount for the wages. So what about the difference between the clerk and the supervisor? The clerk, treasurer, supervisor, because the clerk and treasurer are at the same amount.
Didn't it start off being 5,000 different?
It started off being 6.
I think that's how it was set up.
It was 6. If you look at 2002 wages, it's 6.
Yeah.
You do the math.
Right, but that's not when it was implemented. That's as far back as the budgets go. That's in my cabinet.
Well, like I said, you're always going to have, if you give everybody a 2% increase,
Right.
The more money you make, the more your increase is. Jason, do you know when you did your research today what the differences between like supervisors and clerks and treasurers at the other places? Did you get any info?
I didn't. I only had a little bit of time, and I only asked about the supervisor position. But I know almost every township has that step down for the other two.
Yeah. You guys do, I know we're not at the office, so who knows if we have, I know from the past when we've talked raises, we've always had the little spreadsheets to show us what the other townships make for each position, elected position. Does anybody have that with them?
I don't.
I do not.
No.
I'd have to research that. I can research that and send it out to the board.
I mean, I'm okay with the way it is, but that's because these are what people thought these are what the individuals thought that they'd be coming in at.
Okay, so well, it sounds like most people want to keep the wages that are on this sheet for 2020 as far as starting wages.
Yeah, Kathy, I have a question for you, and you might not know it off the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
What is the pay difference between the deputy clerk and the clerk?
The deputy clerk gets $525 a year more than any of the other clerical positions.
No, I mean the difference between the deputy clerk and the clerk position.
It depends on how many years they've worked as deputy clerk, because the deputy only gets a stipend of $525. So
Right.
if you're an assistant and you've been here for 20 years, then you're making.
Okay, I got you. All right.
There you go.
I was just trying to figure out what the pay difference was currently between the deputy clerk and the clerk.
Hang on, and I'm looking it up.
But the deputy doesn't have to be an employee, correct? So they
Correct.
they don't have to get a set salary, Bob. They just get $500 for, or whatever, $525.
Yeah, no, I understand that. What I'm looking at is our current deputy clerk is an employee. So I just want to see what she's going to be stepping up to with the new position clerk.
Oh, clerk, yes, current deputy clerk.
She's not the deputy clerk.
Oh, yes, she's not the deputy.
The deputy, all the deputies make $591 according to our budget a year.
So what's her official title then that she's going to be running for clerk?
She's an office assistant.
Okay, so what is there a pay difference between office assistant and clerk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm making salary, and she's making like $19 an hour.
Okay, all right. So she's
$20.06.
She's realizing increase.
At the full level of the wages. And I'm not sure if Rosalind's all the way there yet or not.
No, she's not. Okay. She's at a 2-year wage right now because she was here for 4 years, 3 of it as part-time. So half of that time goes towards full-time. So she actually just got her 2 years raise.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure she was actually going to be increasing her pay with taking that position. All right, thank you.
Yep.
So, Bob, the way it's set up, all our clerical employees, once they reach their full status after 3 years, they are currently making $41,725 a year. The deputies make that extra $578.45 a year more. And the way we set that up is so that we could offer that to someone that is not an employee.
Right. Okay,
we ran into problems in the past connecting it to the job.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Kathy, it's $591 for every deputy.
Okay, then my sheet must not be updated.
This is what's in our board packet tonight. That's what we voted on for 2020.
In our board packet, it's in there? Because I don't remember seeing it in there.
Revenue and expenditure report?
Oh, for the report, yeah.
Yes, it's in there. Under all 3 deputies, it's the same amount.
Okay, because mine is revised 8/19, and I think we did do something after that. So, yep, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this?
Nope.
Okay. All right, then we will go on to our consent agenda. Let's see, and I'll be sending something out to the board comparing other supervisors' wages to their treasurer clerk.
So are we taking action on this tonight?
No, it's a discussion item.
Okay.
So no action. Okay, so on our consent agenda, and we do have an updated, revised, and I don't know if everyone's got that in their packet, but the bottom line of the old consent agenda was $399,713.89, and the revised one is for $407,050.71. So I don't know if everyone's got the updated version.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have your version. Could you run that number by me again, please?
Well, I'll run all the total number, Bob, was $407,050.71 for the total grand total of all expenditures.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thanks.
Okay. So on our consent agenda, we have regular meeting minutes of June 1st, 2020, special meeting minutes of June 15th, 2020, regular bills in the amount of $30,149.65, prepays in the amount of $348,360.33, township benefits from payroll account $27,292.73. Trustee timesheets in the amount of $1,248. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Uh-oh. Was that, Jason, were you first on that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, you was.
Chris.
And who would like to second?
I was second.
Chris? Okay.
A motion. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, I have a motion by Trustee Rumble. It is seconded by Trustee Cordella to approve the consent agenda as presented. Okay, let's do a roll call, please, Belinda.
Ellen?
Yes.
Alan? Darnell?
Yes.
Thelma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Rumble?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda has been approved. We have no unfinished business this evening. And we have 4 items of new business, so we'll go right into our new business. The first item of new business is the CARES Act distribution agreement. So it looks like we now have 2 agreements with Oakland County on our agenda, and the first one is for the CARES Act, and this is presented to us by Oakland County. They want us to approve this and execute it in regard to getting reimbursement for expenditures that we have relative to COVID-19. And it's laid out for you in this agreement on how we have to apply for it. We have to first see if FEMA will reimburse, and for the parts that they won't reimburse, the county will through the CARES Act funding. Any questions on this agreement? Yes, Dana.
When I was reading the email from MTA, they talked about the public safety and the deadline being July 17th. So does that, or is that something different too that we need to look into? There's just so many different things.
I am not sure what you read from MTA.
That's what I was going back and forth with my email. It was an email on July 2nd from their insights, and their very first paragraph talked about the CARES funding for local government signed Treasury to host free webinar on resources available. So there's a free webinar on July 9th at 2 p.m. And then they said And then in the next paragraph, it talked about due to the fast approaching public safety reimbursement application deadline of July 17th, townships are encouraged to compile the April and May public safety and public health payroll expenditures. So it was on an email on July 2nd that I received. I just want to make sure that we're doing that. Did you hear me that whole time? Because I switched off my screen and was reading my email.
It's my understanding, Dana, from webinars I've attended that the CARES Act funds they're going to have several different dates that you can like continue to apply for funding from. So that might be the first deadline, July 17th.
Right, but that one's about public safety. So I just want to make sure, because I know for my employer that being that they're doctors, I looked into every single thing. I didn't just wait. I did every single thing I could for them, trying to help them during this time that was offered. So I just want to make sure the township's doing that too.
Yes, the fire chief is heading the reimbursements for the township and the fire department together. So I know he's working on applying for the FEMA amounts, but I'll ask him about this.
Yeah, if you don't have that email from July 2nd, let me know and I'll send it, because it's giving a webinar from the Department of Treasury on July 9th about all the different details of the different applications and the guidelines.
Okay.
And it's a webinar with the MTA. And so it probably is going to give a breakout of each different thing, you know, each different type of, as I said, just like with the doctors, there was things they could do for Medicare. There was different things that they could do. So I'm guessing that's the same with this. And then the second paragraph talked about this public safety. So I wasn't sure if this was that or if this is something else, but I'm all for do everything and see what you can get.
Okay. I'll look for that email, because looking on my calendar, it doesn't look like I'm signed up for that one yet.
Okay, I have it. So if you need me to, I can forward it to you.
Okay, thank you, Dana. Any other questions or concerns regarding this agreement with the county?
Hey, Kathy, did Stuart look at this?
No, because this is an agreement the county has sent out to all of the townships and all the CVTs, I should say.
Like, I don't think we have a choice on changing it.
I would like to make a motion if you're ready for one.
Yep, to approve the agreement.
Yes, the CARES Act distribution between Oakland County and Brandon Township.
As presented?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Candy.
I'll support it.
Okay. Any further discussion on this agreement? I have a motion to approve the agreement for CARES Act distribution between Oakland County and Brandon Township as presented. And that motion is made by Clerk Allen. It is seconded by Trustee DePalma. Okay, and seeing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. So we can move on to our second item, which is the resolution on letters of appeal. At the Board of Review, they allow letters of appeal, and they've been doing that right along. And this is just a formality, this resolution. It's something that we are already doing, but we should have a resolution in place to do it with.
It doesn't have an end date. Does that matter?
No, this is was given to me by our assessor, and like I said, we've been doing this. We just haven't had a resolution in place, and he needs to have this paperwork done to
But
perform part of his job.
But have we been doing this since before COVID, or is this just a COVID thing? Like,
No,
we'll stop.
it has nothing to do with COVID.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I thought it was
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah. No, we've been doing it right along. Ever since I've worked here, we've done it.
Okay. I'll make a motion for this resolution as presented.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Trustee DePalma and it's seconded by Trustee Rumble to approve the Charter Township of Brandon Resolution 000-2020 well, that'll be filled in by the clerk, that number, I'm sure, to allow resident taxpayers to file letters of protest regarding assessments to the Board of Review without personal appearance as presented. Any questions? Okay, roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Clarkson, yes.
Yeah.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Okay, next on our agenda is the facility improvement budget amendment. As you can see from reading this, we've got two projects underway. One is to replace the tile in the bathroom floor. The other is to install a new flagpole. And I'm just, I don't have enough money in the building line to cover both projects, only one of them. So I'm looking just to move $2,000 out of the capital improvement fund. Any questions?
I make a motion as suggested.
I'll go. Or if you want to go, Bob, I saw you muted. Go ahead, Bob.
I
No,
heard him.
Okay.
I got you, Bob. Would someone like to second the motion?
Dana.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, Dana.
All right. Any discussion? Dana, did you have something?
Yes. Are these projects already going? Have they already been bidded out? It looks like there was no bids response yet.
Both of these projects we've received bids for them. They're both under $2,500, so they won't be coming to the board for approval.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking is because about a month ago, there was discussion about not spending money to finish the park where we would lose grant money. Two, we're worried now about wages. So three, we're going to do work that hasn't started. Should we maybe, I know it's a small amount, but should we maybe hold off with everything going on right now? I know we want to get it done, but if we're not in the middle of the project, maybe we shouldn't be doing it right now.
Candy, you're lit up. Are you wanting
Oh,
to
sorry.
say something?
I'm sorry. I do have a question why you don't want to take the money out of the capital outlay. And I agree with Dana. We are worried about wages in a park, and we need windows worse than we need a flagpole. We've been putting up with the flagpole for all these years. We've got leaky windows. I just think we're looking in the wrong direction right now. And especially we don't know what this COVID's going to do. We have no idea. There's too many unknowns.
Well, the flagpole is part of the front facade RFP that's going to be going out that we've talked about last year. In order to do the front of the building, that's when we need to move the flagpole so they can work on that. The bathroom floors are a mess.
They have been for years.
Yep. And we have the money budgeted. I can hold off on these projects, but if the board wants me to hold off on them, I'll hold off on them. But they're not. Well, these two projects are not real expensive.
Well, you just said though the flagpole has to do with the whole front of the building, and I'm guessing the front of the building would be expensive though, correct?
That project would be more. Yep. And
So
we
that's
are
what I'm
using.
wondering.
I mean, I am asking Candy for it to come out of our capital outlay. Yep, and I can hold off on sending the RFP out as well.
I was just giving my opinion. There's 7 of us, so.
But the windows are going to have to get done with the whole front of the building.
They wouldn't have to if we just replaced.
And we've got brick that's breaking up.
That's been breaking up for 20 years.
Right.
And
well,
nothing's been done about
the windows
it,
have been bad for a long time too.
Mhm.
Yep. The maintenance around here has just not been great, so.
So why put it off?
Because we're talking about worried about COVID and not wanting to do the park or not wanting to keep wages for elected officials the same. So I'm like, why are we spending money to make the building look nicer? Yes, I'd love to do it, but is this the time to spend the money is what I was just trying to bring up, as I said.
Well, but we are continuing on the park, and the wages are going to probably stay the same, so.
Well, but the park, if we didn't do the park, we were going to lose the grant money. So I'm not going to go through that.
Chris?
I agree. I agree with Dana. You know, unfortunately, I don't think we have a clue on what's going to happen down the road a year, 2 years, 3 years after this COVID crisis. My guess, it's going to be a financial disaster, and we have to get ready for it. And we have to really start to think about every expenditure starting now, like Dana said, and I agree with that 195%. I want to tell you folks, this is not going to be pretty. I'm not going to be on the board, I know, but the bottom line is this is going to get real ugly. I can just tell you it is. My past experience as a financial person, financial analyst, Wall Street person, it's going to get ugly. That's it.
Bob and Jason, what are your comments?
We already had this budgeted, correct, to do this specific project?
We had been talking about doing it for a long time.
But did you plan it in your budget this year is what I'm getting at?
Well, it would come out of the capital improvement line.
Okay.
Do that. We've been saving for it for quite a long time. It would come out of the capital improvement, which we have 169,258 in.
I mean, I don't have a problem with doing the project at the end of the day. For me, it's something that needs to be done. I don't understand kicking it down the road even further. It's not going to get better.
Yeah, I agree with Jason. I'm in favor of getting it done and over with. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars, and we're going to nickel and dime for a couple thousand to get the front of the building looking good. I say go for it.
This is just partial of it, not the whole thing. There's
more.
more.
Right.
I understand that.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're ready for vote.
So would someone like to make a motion, either the suggested motion or a different motion?
I thought the motion was made already,
We already
Kathy.
made the motion.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, we did make a motion. Pardon me. So the motion was made by trustee Marshall and is seconded by trustee Rumble to amend 101-265-976 facility improvements from 1,000 to 3,000 and to move $2,000 from designated capital improvements 250-101-999-265 to 101-265-976.000. Any further discussion? All right, let's do a roll call, please.
Cordella,
No.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
Palma,
No,
Thurman,
Yes, motion carries. Okay, we can move on to the clerk's election services agreement with Oakland County.
So this is something brand new. There's no end date to it ever. We can opt in or opt out as we wish. I have opted Brandon Township in for the August election to count the AV ballot. They have an $80,000 high-speed counter, which will take a load off of us, mostly due to the COVID. I cannot social distance my counting board in this building. I cannot move them to another building. You have to have 84 days to allow the state to give approval, which is not going to happen, can't happen. So if we pass this resolution, we're able to have Oakland County election come out to Brandon, pick up our ballots in sealed containers, take them down to the county the day before the election. 3 of my workers will be on staff at the county to watch the process, oversee it. They're not only going to count our ballots, but other township and ballots for Oakland County, which will save a whole lot of work, time, effort, safety measures, the whole thing. We've had one Zoom meeting and everything was explained, and I feel that this is a really good option for us. 600 ballots a minute versus a few people working 24 hours to try and get our job done. So I am definitely in favor of this resolution, this agreement, and think it's going to be a great thing for Brandon.
Candy, I have a question for you.
Sure.
After they are finished counting the ballots, who retains the ballots? They come back to us?
No. Oakland County holds them for 30 days while they do the canvass. They will be sealed, locked up, secured there. Once the county canvass is done, they will bring them back to Brandon where we store them for 22 months.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sure.
And Candy, on page 4, it lists all the payments, the way the payments are, but then on Exhibit 1, there's no fee for this service.
There is no fee for this service this time. I believe they're talking about possibly November. If we go this route in November, it would be $100 per precinct, which would cost us $600. And if I can, all the AVs that we get in, which is the absentee voter ballots that come in up from now through 4 o'clock on August 3rd, the day before the election, will be sent to the county. Whatever comes in after 4 p.m. and on election day will go to the precinct where the ballot belongs. I have 2 workers from the counting board going to each of the 6 precincts. They'll show up at 6 o'clock at night and start processing the ballots that they have. So after the last live voter has gone through, scanned their ballot, no matter what time it is, because if you're in line by 8, you can vote. there's no time limit to vote and scan your ballot. Then our two counting board workers will scan all the ballots. Dana's got a question.
Yep, go ahead, Dana.
2 questions. So if we vote this now for August, would you come back and ask us to vote again for November, or are you just automatically doing November then?
No,
That's
this
number 1.
this agreement would be forever, as long as we want to opt in or out, or the county wants to have the program. We'll only have to pass this one time. So,
But what I'm asking you is, would you tell us come November if you're doing it or not, is what I'm asking? Or would we not really have a say come November? You would just have the say, is what I was asking.
you really don't have a say.
Okay, that was number 1.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say,
wouldn't
it
the
all
exhibit change on it, Candy, for November?
Would the what change? I'm sorry.
The exhibit 1, wouldn't that change for November? Since they're offering free fees.
Yes, and they may send an addendum to this.
Addendum, okay.
Yes, that may happen, yes. Everybody's not in favor of trying this the first time because they're leery of it. I just do not know how I could have my workers in this building who only get the conference room and one hallway to be able to social distance them and them to get it done in a timely manner. It's an impossible job. Sending out almost 2,500 ballots right now. And every day we're sending another 20 to 40 ballots out, so. Go ahead, Dana.
And then my second question is, so if they get counted at Oakland County, don't you guys keep something at the township office that someone can come in and say, I want to see my voter card to make sure my ballot was counted?
It's on our computers. It's on all of our computers.
So would Oakland County then be able to, would Oakland County be updating those voter cards for those absentee ballots? Then how would those people be updated if they're not being counted by us?
No, it's the same process. It's just going to be a different location. They're going to do everything we would have done here.
Okay.
We actually process them in as we received your ballot the day we get them. Like we processed ballots today that we got in the mail back. So you can go online and look and say, oh, my ballot got there today. If you mailed it to us last week, however long it took to get here through the mail, or if you put it in our Dropbox this morning, it already shows up that we received it.
Okay.
The county board does not do the receiving. They count the ballots, match them to a list of all the voters, open the ballots. The next person in line takes the ballot out. The next person flattens it, and then another person counts them in stacks of 25. Then 2 more people take that stack to the scanner and scan them through, a person from each party. So nobody knows whose ballot it is, or, there's no connection to, hey, that ballot must be mine. They'll do exactly the same down there. That's why he's having workers from every township come down there to work. And they all do the same exact process.
And you think paying them to do it will save us money?
I'm not
As a
paying
borough?
This year.
I'm
Will
not
save-
paying Oakland County for this.
Right, but at some point, if we approve this, you're gonna be able to pay Oakland County for it. So the time that you'll save employee wages, we'll pay less for it to be done than what Oakland County would do, is what I'm asking.
Yes. Right now, I pay the county board almost $2,000 for the day. I have 14 people. Typically, I have 14 people out there that do it, and they make $11.75 an hour, and they start anywhere from 8 in the morning till, sometimes we let them start at 11, depends on how many ballots we have, but they may not be done till 10.
So that's separate from the people who are working the polls. This is just 14 people working absentee ballots.
Yes. All
And there's
total,
nowhere-
we've got 88 employees.
And there's nowhere else that you can do it where they could social distance?
No, I don't have any other building. And I got to have 84 days to let the state of Michigan say, yes, we approve of that location.
Gotcha.
And there is nowhere.
It's already too late.
Yes, very too late. If we didn't have the COVID, it'd be a different story. We actually were thinking the state would have said no in-person election. And they just made that decision 2 weeks ago.
I heard it's been longer than that, but
Well, it may have been 3 weeks ago. It's not been very long.
oh, okay. I thought it's been longer, but that doesn't matter.
Any further discussion on this? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agreement for election services between Oakland County and Brandon Township as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
Was that you, Chris?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to approve the agreement for election services between Oakland County and Brandon Township as presented. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Cornell,
Yes.
Palma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So that concludes our new business for this evening. And now we will take citizen comments, 3 minutes apiece, and these comments can be on anything. So is there anyone that would like to make a comment?
I would. This is Heath. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you, Keith.
Okay. So, Bob, this is addressed to you. So I just want to let you know I was very disappointed and embarrassed by your comments about the protests that occurred. In the newspaper, they actually had an article here talking about the Flint protests and how the police actually marched with the protesters. And I thought that was really good publicity for Flint. And I also thought it was great leadership from the Sheriff Swanson. But then a few weeks later that your comments came out, I felt just embarrassed that one of my elected officials could not show the same leadership qualities as that. So you had stated that you were disappointed because these individuals were supporting a hate group. In reality, I felt that the people in the community were showing support that everyone should have equal justice. So with that said, I felt the best way to maybe voice my disappointment was to actually run for trustee myself. So over the last week or so, I collected 68 signatures, and I do have, let's say, I have actually registered now to be a trustee as an independent trustee for the upcoming November election. So I figured at least people will have a choice to and a chance to voice their frustrations as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Heath. Oops. Would anyone else like to make a comment? Oh, we have 20 people at our meeting tonight. Who else would like to make a comment?
Kathy, can you hear me? This is Marissa Prince.
Yes, I can hear you, Marissa. Would you like to make a comment?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm Marissa Prince, and I live here in Ortonville. At the special meeting that I called into, I guess I just wanted to respond because, of course, after citizen comment, respond back to things that the trustees say. Bob had mentioned that he questioned, Bob Marshall, trustee, had mentioned he questioned the judgment of a parent that would bring a child to a rally. So I sat down with my husband and my 11-year-old fifth grade, entering sixth grade daughter who came with me, and we kind of talked through, the decision process to bring her to that event in Nortonville and just how she felt about it. And she wasn't comfortable coming here to speak to all of these adults in this format. I think she would have if it were in a meeting room. But I guess what I'd like to pass along is that it was really important for her to go. We have really good friends that live behind us here in Brandon Township, a family of color. We care about them a lot, and they're hurting, and they told us that. And we'd do anything to make them feel supported and that there's people that care about them. Bob tried to turn this into something it wasn't, and it's such a shame because so much good came from it. And I'm so glad I've connected with so many people through that rally. It was really special. And I really encourage the rest of the board to just embrace residents who come together in a way of positive action. So another couple quick things just from the meeting, pay cuts. In the private sector, I'm sure you guys all know people. My husband took a 20% pay cut due to COVID. When the plant reopened, it went down to 10% for the rest of the year. So in the private sector, there's lots of pay cuts happening. Not sure if I should expect that to extend to government or not, but that's what's happening. And then if any ballots are going to be taken out of the township, I just think that needs to be really clearly communicated to residents. There's a lot of skepticism surrounding absentee. People, I don't know. And I've tried to explain it to people, but in my explanation, I'm always explaining that the ballots stay at the township office. So it's just my opinion, if we're going to be taking them to the county offices in Pontiac, we need to just really clearly communicate that. And I don't know the best way to do that. I'd also like to see some formal communication about the mosquito products because my neighbors were real excited to get something for free. So I look forward to seeing some type of communication about that too, formally to residents. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment this evening? Okay, people are being quiet. Seeing no other offers to make comments, we will go ahead to board comments. Let's start with Chris. Chris, do you have any comments this evening?
Yeah, I'm gonna say once again via my article to the editor, if you will, and the Citizen, asking Bob to please get me some because I have done, like I said, in my email or in my article that I've watched at least 150 hours. The bottom line is I've watched at least 300 hours, if not 500 hours, and I still have not seen one case. And I know and all the marches in Detroit, 25 to 30, all the marches in anywhere in Michigan, it's never the chant that Bob has in his Facebook article. And I'd like to, I just would like to see it. Okay. And also, having said that, I'd like Bob to present the facts that he said that he has with regard to the number, the falsehood that blacks are killed and overwhelmingly numbers disproportionately killed by white police officers is demonstrably false. I will not state the numbers here. I don't know why you wouldn't state the numbers if you had them, but I'd like to see the numbers. I'd like to see the source of those numbers. So that's where I'm at. It's nothing vicious. It's nothing. I just would like to. I would like to see this because, like I say, my eyes did not see the marchers chanting this thing. I did see one that Bob did send me, and I thank you, Bob, for sending me that. But it was from 2015, and it was like one March, and I'm not sure who those people were, but it was only like 6, 7, 8 people, and it was not what I was expecting. So that's it. How many seconds do I have left?
45.
Okay, I'm gonna save those till later. Thank you. I'm serious.
Well, now you have 35. Okay. Jason.
I don't have anything else there.
You're all set?
Yeah.
Okay. Dana?
Just a couple things since a resident brought up was an idea for the mosquito to go out. I think I saw it in the newspaper, but maybe put it on the Facebook page. It doesn't look like there's been any updates since June 4th on COVID, and then the village council meeting on June 25th. So right now with everything, well, anytime, I think the Facebook page should be used more. So you could put the mosquito thing on there. You should put our meeting info that it's going to be virtual or not, so people aren't showing up at the township or telling them to check our page. Also maybe put in the new rules of the township are that we're open, but that we, still expect masks and 6 feet distance, etc. And maybe it's a good place to talk about the absentee ballots too, because that might change people's decision on where they want to vote. So that was a good point, Marissa. Thank you. Or how they want to vote. Sorry, not where.
Thank you, Dana. You have 2 more minutes.
No, I'm good.
Okay, Bob.
He's muted.
Oh, well, he muted himself.
I'll make it quick. Chris is being disingenuous. I sent 10 to 12 video clips to him, demonstrations running everywhere from 2014 to 2020, video clips of the chants, also video clips of artwork calling for death to police officers. On top of that, Chris, I suggest you check out the 2019 Michigan State University and Maryland University study that shows that the overwhelming number of people, of blacks killed by police officers are not killed by white police officers. Overwhelmingly, the number of blacks are killed by black police officers. And that's due to those police officers are drawn from the communities they police. So once again, I'll give you that information because apparently you can't do the research. It's Michigan State University and Maryland that did the study. It's 2019. I suggest you look it up. Anybody else that might be interested in that study, I don't say stuff off the top of my head without the facts. So there you go. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Treasurer Darnell.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay, Clerk Allen.
I do have something, and I'd like to just, I guess I'll make the statement, and where it goes, it goes. We have someone in the building working who was in Texas for a week, and it's a hot spot state, and I don't feel that should be happening, whether they're an elected official or an hourly person. We have rules in place, and they're not being followed. It is just not fair. So I want to know how we fix this to make sure everybody feels safe that comes in this building. I think we need a warning put on our front door stating from such and such a date until another date. If you were here, you might want to watch yourself. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Clerk Allen. All right, Dana. You want to use your 2 minutes, right?
Well, no, I just have a question because of Candy's statement. I know that we have a handbook now on the return to work program like we're supposed to have. And what does that say about travel now? Does that say anything? I know you moved us to the next phase, so I read it, but I can't recall what's what. So is this going against?
We had a question about that, I believe, at our special meeting where we talked about, or no, maybe I just sent out an email. I think I sent out an email. I spoke to our personnel attorney, Greg Schultz, and he said because people have been traveling outside of Michigan, I told him that we're coming up to vacation season. We're going to have more people traveling, and for an employee to go outside the state and then have to quarantine for 14 days, what are your recommendations at this point? And his recommendations were that we follow the CDC travel guidelines. So if you go to the CDC and you look up their travel map, you'll see that anywhere in the United States is considered safe to travel. And then there's outside of the United States, there's some countries that are unsafe and some that are safe. So I was following those guidelines, and we had 2 employees that have traveled outside of Michigan, but they were within the United States, so they were both allowed to come back to work.
But my question was, is if our handbook states, are they allowed to come back to work or not? That was my question. Did we look at the handbook that we put out on that? Of what
You're talking about the back to work policy. The back to work policy states that it will change. The policy will change because the whole COVID stuff changes all the time. So it's a change to it, and we are it's like a work in progress. We have different phases. But they're not exactly along the same lines as the governor's phases. We have 3 phases, I think, and we're between 2 and 3.
Okay, but does I'm looking at it now, does it have anything about work travel in it that we're going against, was what I'm saying? Because if Candy's bringing this up, are we going against this by allowing them back, is what I'm asking.
We were when we originally adopted it, if we take everything the way it's written there. But if you look on the last page, Dana, it will say that it's subject to change. And that's why I contacted the human resource attorney to get his opinion on how to deal with this. So I'm just following his guidance.
Okay.
But his guidance, Kathy, as you told me, was if it's a hot spot, no, return to work for 14 days.
You did not say anything about hot spots.
Well, I have the email to show you.
Okay.
It was in regards to the first employee who did not go to a hot spot state, who returned to work after she was told to be off a day. So I'll show you the email.
Oh, okay, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. Okay. So that's it, Dana? Oh, Chris, how much time do you have? Half a minute?
5.5 minutes, as far as I recall. Okay, but anyways, all right. Bob, I sent you an email back, as you well know, okay? And the bottom line is this, okay? I went through every link that you sent me. You sent me around 11 different links. And the bottom line is this. Not one was from 2020, the year of our Lord, 2020, from March through today. Okay, not one. Not one. Now it's my turn to talk.
Chris.
Mute him.
Okay? Now listen. Now the bottom line is you couldn't respond to me, but now all of a sudden, when you're on television, you want to respond. Okay, the bottom line is this. And the other question.
Okay, this conversation is getting out of hand, so Chris, I'm going to excuse you from talking anymore. So you and Bob will be able to carry on this conversation outside of the meeting from this point. So I would like to make my comments for the end of the meeting, and they are in regard to communication. Shelby is here, so hopefully she will be putting something on the regarding the ballot procedure in the paper. Also, we did have an ad in the paper for the mosquito repellents. But I do like Dana's suggestion of also putting it on the Facebook page, so I'll go ahead and do that as well. And that's pretty much all I have for my comments. So now it's time to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Trustee DePalma, and it is second by Trustee Marshall, was it?
That's
Or
fine.
Jason, one of the two.
Oh, it was, okay, by Trustee Rumble. Okay, I have a motion by Trustee DePalma and seconded by Trustee Rumble to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Hearing none, motion carries unanimously.
Have a good
So
month.
the meeting is now adjourned. Yep, have a good month, everyone. Hopefully our next meeting will be face-to-face.
Night.